My name is Rafi Finegold. I'm CEO and founder of Handily, and we are a platform that allows homeowners to video chat with home improvement pros on demand.
I'm Gardner with _VC. I'm a general partner there, and we're a pre-seed and seed venture capital firm based right here in Boston.
My name is Prithvi Tanwar. I'm a partner at Polsinelli. It's a big national law firm. In states like Massachusetts, New York, it's a dilemma, all right? And here's the dilemma. You're gonna basically draft people to work with you, all right? You may call them co-founders, you might call them your team. Chances are that you won't have any capital to pay them, all right? Or not, you might not be able to meet minimum wage requirements. So you're probably gonna, close that gap by giving them equity, right? And hopefully have that equity subject to vesting or the like. Now, here's the dilemma. Technically, if things went south and that individual made a claim that you should have treated them as an employee and they're entitled to minimum wage and overtime pay and the like, they're probably correct, right? So again, I live in the real world. I work with startups. Almost every startup takes this risk, but it's important the moment you have the capital to do so, to set up payroll and to put payroll processes in place and get rid of that risk, all right? So be aware of it, but then also set some really firm goals to get rid of that risk. And the more equity you give them, the shorter the risk really at the end of the day, but just be aware of this.
And again, the hygiene stuff is one side of it. The other, I would say that when you're talking about early stage companies, and we talked a little bit about milestones and stuff, one of those milestones is always team building, kind of just in general, and it's absolutely critical. As investors, you've probably heard this, Rafi. In general, we like to see at least a 2-person founding team, right? We've got right or wrong. We've got a little bit of agita about kind of solo founders, we call them. I know for me, I would always want to have another founder just because I find it being pretty lonely, just being the only person and not having someone to bounce ideas off of. But as soon as it's, you're getting beyond one founder or 2-founder, those decisions on who you add to the team, especially in the early days, like if you get 2 founders, you add 1 person, that's a third of your payroll. That's a very, very big decision. And it's somebody you're probably going to work with for 10 years. And so being very, very thoughtful about who you add and when, and it depends on the type of business you're building, is actually a critical part of the milestones of early stage company building.
I will say in the last company I was in, so I was number 5, so very early over at the Harvard Innovation Lab, and these guys actually were doing a 2-week project for any prospective employee, so that these people would actually come into the office and work with you over a 2-week period. And so you really got a good feel for who you were hiring, and I just thought that level, like, because you're right, Chris, like both in terms of the kind of financial implications, but also from a cultural standpoint, like those early people in terms of setting the tone and the culture, and is, I think, just super important. And you want to be really thoughtful about who you choose to work with.
And you nailed it. It's not just skill sets. Skill sets are mandatory, of course, but culture is absolutely critical, especially with a small team. It's so easy to poison the well when there's 5 of you. Like, it's just, one can be fatal. And so you really, and we always say, hire slow, fire fast. And again, it's really hard to do, especially with a small company, but don't be afraid. You will make hiring mistakes. Don't be afraid to kind of pull up and change direction if you start to think that way.